May 3rd, 1999. Fred Rogers was sitting in his office at WQED Studios in Pittsburgh, staring at a stack of scripts he couldn't bring himself to read. He was 71 years old. He'd been doing Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for 31 years. Over 900 episodes. Thousands of songs. Millions of children reached, and he was exhausted. Not just the normal tiredness that comes with age. This was something deeper. A weariness in his bones. A heaviness in his chest. For the first time in 3 decades, Fred Rogers was seriously considering retirement. The show felt repetitive. The same cardigan every day. The same trolley. The same puppets saying the same lessons. He wondered if he still had anything new to offer. If children still needed what he was giving them. The world had changed so much since 1968. Television had changed. Children had changed. Maybe it was time to stop. Fred sighed and picked up the top script. Another episode about feelings. Another conversation with Daniel Tiger about being scared. How many times had he done this exact same thing? There was a knock on his office door. "Come in," Fred said, not looking up. His assistant, Margie, opened the door. She had a strange expression on her face. Excitement mixed with something else. Emotion. "Fred, there's someone here to see you." "I'm not really in the mood for visitors, Margie. Can you, Fred?" Margie's voice was firm. "You need to see this person." Fred looked up. "Who is it?" Margie smiled. A tear ran down her cheek. Jeff Erlanger. For a moment, Fred didn't move. The name hung in the air. Jeff Erlanger, the boy in the wheelchair, the 10-year-old who had sung "It's You I Like" with Fred on television 18 years ago. One of Fred's favorite episodes. One of his favorite people. "Jeff?" Fred's voice cracked. "Jeff is here?" "He's in the hallway. He wanted to surprise you." Fred stood up so quickly his chair rolled backward. He walked to the door, almost ran, and opened it. And there, in the hallway of WQED Studios, sitting in an electric wheelchair, was Jeff Erlanger. But not the Jeff that Fred remembered. The Jeff had been 10 years old, round-faced, bright-eyed, full of energy despite his disability. This Jeff was 29. A man, thin too thin, pale, his cheekbones prominent, his eyes sunken. But when he saw Fred, his face lit up with that same smile Fred remembered from 18 years ago. "Hi, Fred." Fred's eyes immediately filled with tears. He walked forward and knelt down beside the wheelchair so he could look Jeff in the eyes. "Jeff, oh Jeff, it's so good to see you. It's good to see you too." Fred reached out and took Jeff's hand. It was cold, fragile, like holding a bird. "How are you?" Fred asked, even though he could see the answer written all over Jeff's face. Jeff laughed. A weak, breathless laugh. "I've been better, Fred, but I'm here. And that's what matters." Asterisk. They went into Fred's office. Margie helped maneuver Jeff's wheelchair through the narrow doorway. It barely fit, but they made it work. Fred sat across from Jeff, just looking at him, taking him in 18 years. 18 years since they'd seen each other. Fred had thought about Jeff over the years. Wondered how he was doing. If he'd graduated from school. If he'd found happiness. If he remembered that day they'd spent together in 1981. But Fred had never reached out. Never called. Never wrote. Because Fred Rogers believed that some moments were meant to be perfect and complete in themselves. You didn't try to recreate them. You didn't hold on to them. You let them exist as what they were, gifts, and you moved forward. But now Jeff was here. And Fred could see that Jeff was dying. "You look different," Fred said gently. "Older." Jeff smiled. "So do you. Gray hair looks good on you." "Thank you." "But Jeff," Fred's voice became even softer. "What's going on? What's happening with you?" Jeff took a deep breath. It was labored, difficult, My heart, Fred. It's not working anymore. Congestive heart failure. The doctors say I have maybe 6 months. Maybe less. The words hit Fred like a punch to the chest. 6 months. This young man, this beautiful, brave young man had 6 months to live. I'm so sorry, Jeff. Don't be, Jeff said. I've had a good life. A longer life than anyone expected, actually. When I was born, the doctors told my parents I wouldn't live past 5 years old. Then they said I wouldn't make it past 10. Then 15. I'm 29, Fred. That's 24 bonus years. That's a gift. Fred's throat was tight. What? What have you been doing? These past 18 years? Jeff's eyes lit up, just a little. Just enough to show the fire that was still burning inside him. I went to college. Got a degree in communications. I've been doing advocacy work. Speaking at schools, at conferences, talking about disability rights, about accessibility, about inclusion. That's wonderful, Jeff. I tell people about you, Fred. I tell them about our episode. About how you looked at me, not at my wheelchair, but at me. About how you made me feel like I mattered exactly as I was. That changed my life. Fred shook his head slowly. You would have done all those things anyway, Jeff. You've always had that strength in you. Maybe, but you helped me see it. When I was 10 years old, I felt different from everyone else. I felt broken. And then I met you. And you sang to me. It's you I like, not the things that hide you. And I realized that my wheelchair wasn't me. It was just something I used. I was still Jeff, and Jeff was enough. Fred reached across the desk and took Jeff's hand again. Jeff has always been enough. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Jeff said, Fred, I came here to ask you something. Anything. I want to come back on the show. One more time. Before I don't get another chance. Fred felt his chest tighten. Of course. Of course you can come back. When? Soon. While I still have the energy. While I can still sit up and talk. I'm getting weaker every day, Fred. If we're going to do this, it has to be soon. Fred stood up. Then we'll do it. We'll make it happen. Whatever you need. Jeff smiled. Thank you, Fred. This means everything to me. 18 years earlier, May 9th, 1981. To understand what Jeff's return meant, you have to understand what happened the first time. May 9th, 1981. Jeff Erlanger was 10 years old. He'd been in a wheelchair his entire life due to a spinal tumor that had been removed when he was a baby. The surgery had saved his life, but left him paralyzed from the chest down. Jeff's mother, Sylvia, had written to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, asking if Fred would consider having Jeff on the show. My son watches your show every day. It's the one place where he feels like he belongs. Would you consider meeting him? Fred didn't just agree to meet Jeff. He invited him to be a guest on the show. On May 9th, 1981, Jeff Erlanger wheeled onto the set of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. He was nervous, excited, scared. But when he saw Fred Rogers in person, not just on TV, all the fear melted away. Because Fred looked at him the way Fred looked at everyone, with complete attention, complete presence, complete acceptance. Fred didn't look at the wheelchair first. He looked at Jeff. Hi, Jeff. I'm so glad you're here. They talked about Jeff's wheelchair, about how it worked, about what it was like to use it. Jeff explained everything patiently, showed Fred the controls, let Fred understand. And then Fred asked the question that would change Jeff's life. Jeff, does it bother you that you can't walk? Most adults never asked Jeff that. They tiptoed around it, pretended the wheelchair wasn't there, acted like everything was fine. But Fred asked directly. Honestly, Jeff thought about it. Then he said something profound for a 10-year-old. It used to. But then I realized that I can do a lot of things. I just do them differently. And that's okay. Fred smiled. That's a wonderful way to think about it. Then Fred did something Jeff never expected. He sat down at the piano and said, "Jeff, I'd like to sing you a song. Will you sing it with me?" "Okay," Jeff said nervously. Fred began playing and singing. "It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair. But it's you I like. The way you are right now. The way down deep inside you. Not the things that hide you. Not your toys. They're just beside you." Jeff sang along, his voice small and uncertain at first, but growing stronger. By the time they reached the end, Jeff was crying. So was Fred. "But it's you I like, every part of you. Your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you'll remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like. It's you yourself. It's you. It's you I like." When the song ended, Fred looked at Jeff and said, "Jeff, you are a very special person. Just the way you are." That episode became one of the most beloved in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood history. Jeff Erlanger, the boy in the wheelchair who sang with Fred Rogers, became an icon. Letters poured in from parents of disabled children, from disabled adults, from teachers, from doctors. "Thank you for showing my child that they matter. Thank you for not hiding disability, for making it normal. Thank you for seeing people, not conditions." For Jeff, that day changed everything. He realized that he wasn't defined by his wheelchair. He was defined by who he was as a person. And who he was as a person was enough. May 17th, 1999. To return to. Weeks after Jeff showed up at Fred's office, they filmed the reunion episode. Fred had wanted to do it sooner, but Jeff needed time. Time to rest. Time to prepare. Time to gather what little strength he had left, because even sitting in a wheelchair and talking was exhausting for him. Now, May 17th, 1999, Jeff Erlanger returned to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. The crew knew something special was happening. Word had spread through the studio that Jeff was coming back, that this might be his last public appearance. When Jeff wheeled onto the set, the entire crew stopped what they were doing. The cameraman, the lighting techs, the sound engineers, the producers. Everyone just stopped and looked at Jeff. He was so thin now, so pale, so fragile. But he was smiling. That same smile from 1981. A little weaker now. A little more tired. But still there. Fred was waiting for him in his chair. When Jeff came into view, Fred stood up and walked over. They didn't say anything at first. Fred just knelt down beside the wheelchair and hugged Jeff. A long, gentle hug. "Welcome back, Jeff." "It's good to be back, Fred." Asterisk. They started filming. Fred began the episode the way he always did. Walking through the door. Singing, "Won't You Be My Neighbor?" Changing into his cardigan and sneakers. But today, his voice was different, softer, more fragile. He sat down in his chair and looked at the camera. "Today, I have a very special guest visiting. Someone many of you might remember from a long time ago. 18 years ago. To be exact. His name is Jeff Erlanger, and I'm so glad he's here." Jeff wheeled into frame. Several crew members started crying immediately because the contrast was devastating. In 1981, Jeff had been a child, round-faced, energetic, full of life. Now he was a man, gaunt, weak, dying, but still brave, still smiling. "Hi, Fred," Jeff said. "Hi, Jeff. It's been such a long time. 18 years. Almost half my life. Do you remember the last time you were here?" "Of course. We sang together. It was one of the best days of my life." Fred's eyes were already wet. "Mine too, Jeff. Mine too. They talked on about Jeff's life over the past 18 years. About college. About his advocacy work. About the speeches he'd given. I've spoken at over 200 schools, Jeff said. Talked to thousands of kids. And I always tell them the same thing. Being different isn't bad. It's just different. And that's okay. That's a beautiful message, Jeff. I learned it from you, Fred. That day we sang together, you taught me that my wheelchair doesn't define me. I define me. And that lesson saved my life. Because I stopped seeing myself as broken. I started seeing myself as just different and worthy. And enough. Fred had to stop for a moment. Compose himself. You've always been enough, Jeff, from the moment I met you. You've always been exactly who you were supposed to be. Then Fred asked the question he'd been holding on to. Jeff, if you could say something to everyone watching, if this was your chance to share a message with the world, what would you say? Jeff thought for a moment, then he spoke, slowly, carefully, like every word mattered. I'd say, don't wait. Don't wait to tell the people you love that you love them. Don't wait to do the things that matter to you. Don't wait to be kind. Don't wait to forgive. Don't wait to live, because time is shorter than you think. We all think we have forever, but we don't. We have right now. And that's all we're guaranteed. So use it. Live it. Love with it. Don't save your kindness for someday. Give it today. And if you're different, if you're disabled, if you're struggling, if you feel like you don't fit, know that you matter. Exactly as you are. You don't have to be fixed to be worthy. You're already worthy. You always have been. The studio was silent. Every single person was crying. Fred reached over and took Jeff's hand. Thank you, Jeff. That's one of the most important things anyone has ever said on this show. Jeff smiled. Can we sing it again, Fred? One more time? I'd love that. Fred moved to the piano. Jeff wheeled his chair beside him, and they sang, It's You I Like. One more time. 18 years after the first time. Fred's voice was older now, shakier, but still full of love. Jeff's voice was weaker, breathless, but still determined. It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. The way you are right now, the way down deep inside you, not the things that hide you, not your toys. They're just beside you. But it's you I like, every part of you. Your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you'll remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like. It's you yourself. It's you. It's you I like. By the end, both of them were crying. So was everyone on set. The camera operators were shaking, trying to keep the shot steady through their tears. The sound engineer had to wipe his eyes so he could see the levels. The producer was openly sobbing because they all knew what they were witnessing. A goodbye. A final goodbye between two people who had changed each other's lives in immeasurable ways. After the cameras stopped rolling, Fred and Jeff sat together for a long time. Just the two of them. The crew gave them space, privacy. This moment was theirs. Thank you, Fred, Jeff said quietly, for everything. For that first episode 18 years ago. For remembering me. For letting me come back. For seeing me. Really seeing me. My whole life, you're one of the only people who ever really saw me. Thank you, Jeff, Fred said, for reminding me why I do this. I've been so tired lately. I've been thinking about stopping, about retiring. But you reminded me what this is all about. It's not about the puppets or the songs or the episodes. It's about the people. It's about moments like this, connections like this. That's what matters. Don't stop, Jeff said. His voice was urgent despite its weakness. Please, Fred, don't stop. The world needs you. Children need you. I needed you. And there are millions of kids out there who need you too. I'll keep going, Fred promised. As long as I can. Because of you. Jeff smiled. Good. They sat in silence for another moment. Then Jeff said, Fred, I'm scared. Of dying? Of being forgotten. I know that sounds selfish, but I don't want to disappear. I don't want people to forget that I was here. Fred leaned forward, looked Jeff directly in the eyes. Jeff Erlanger, you will never be forgotten. You've touched millions of lives. You've changed the way people think about disability, about worthiness, about what it means to be human. That doesn't disappear. That lives on. In every person you've reached. In every child who saw you and realized they were okay, just the way they are. You're not going to be forgotten. You're going to be remembered forever. Jeff cried. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Jeff, for being exactly who you are. For sharing your life with us. For being brave enough to come here twice and show the world what courage looks like. The episode aired on May 24th, 1999. It was watched by millions. The response was overwhelming. Letters poured into WQED by the thousands. Thank you for bringing Jeff back. We needed to see him. We needed his message. My daughter is in a wheelchair. Watching Jeff, now a man, still brave, still fighting, gave us so much hope. I'm crying as I write this. Jeff's words, don't wait, hit me so hard. I've been waiting my whole life. I'm not waiting anymore. My son has a disability. He's always felt different. Seeing Jeff on your show, both times, helped him understand that different doesn't mean less. Thank you. The episode became one of the most watched in the show's history. And Jeff Erlanger, 29 years old, dying. Frail became a symbol of courage one more time. 6 months later, November 14th, 1999, Jeff Erlanger died on November 14th, 1999. He was 29 years old. His heart, which had been failing for months, finally gave out. He died at home, surrounded by his family, peaceful, comfortable, ready. When Fred Rogers heard the news, he sat in his office and cried for an hour, not because he was surprised. He'd known this was coming, but because the world had lost someone irreplaceable. Jeff's funeral was held 3 days later in Madison, Wisconsin. Over 500 people attended. Disability rights advocates, students Jeff had spoken to, teachers, friends, family, and Fred Rogers. Fred flew to Wisconsin specifically for the funeral. He didn't have to. He was 71 years old. He was tired. He had a show to film, but he went because Jeff mattered. And Fred Rogers always showed up for the people who mattered. At the funeral, Fred spoke. He stood at the podium, this man who had spent his entire life talking to children on television, and he spoke to a room full of grieving adults. I met Jeff Erlanger twice, Fred began. Once when he was 10 years old, and once when he was 29, 18 years apart. But both times, Jeff taught me the same lesson, that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and choosing to live anyway. Jeff knew he was dying. He'd known for years. His entire life, he'd been told he wouldn't make it, that his time was short, that he was living on borrowed time. But Jeff didn't waste a single moment of that time. He went to college. He became an advocate. He spoke to thousands of children. He changed laws. He changed minds. He changed hearts. And 6 months ago, when he was weak and sick and had every reason to stay home and rest, he came back to my show. One more time, to share his message with the world. That message was simple. Don't wait. Don't wait to love people. Don't wait to do the things that matter. Don't wait to be kind. Because time is shorter than you think. Jeff didn't wait. He filled his 29 years with more courage, more grace, more impact than most people achieve in 80 years. And he reminded me when I was tired, when I was questioning whether my work still mattered, he reminded me that it does, that every moment matters, that every connection matters, that every person matters. Jeff, thank you. Thank you for being exactly who you were. Thank you for sharing your light with the world. Thank you for teaching us all that it's not how long you live that matters. It's how deeply you love, how bravely you live, how much you give. You gave us everything, and we'll never forget you. 3 years later, February 27, 2003, Fred Rogers kept his promise to Jeff. He didn't retire. He kept filming Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for 2 more years after Jeff's death, until December 2000, when he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. He filmed his final episode on December 1, 2000. Then he began treatment, but the cancer was aggressive. And Fred was 73 years old. On February 27, 2003, Fred Rogers died. He was at home, surrounded by his family. His funeral was held in Pittsburgh. Thousands attended. And during the service, someone read a quote from Jeff Erlanger's 1999 episode. Don't wait to tell people you love them. Don't wait to do the things that matter. Don't wait to be kind, because time is shorter than you think. Jeff's words spoken 4 years earlier by a dying 20-9-year-old became part of Fred Rogers' eulogy, because Jeff had reminded Fred of what mattered, and Fred had lived those final years accordingly, not waiting, not hesitating, just loving, just being present, just mattering. Legacy. 2018. In 2018, 15 years after Fred's death, a documentary called Won't You Be My Neighbor was released. It told the story of Fred Rogers' life and work, and it featured footage of Jeff Erlanger. Both times. 1981, the 10-year-old boy in a wheelchair, singing It's You I Like with Fred for the first time. And 1999, the 29-year-old man in a wheelchair, singing it one last time. The documentary played in theaters across America. And in every single theater, audiences sobbed during Jeff's scenes, because they saw what Fred Rogers always saw, that every person, no matter how different, no matter how fragile, no matter how brief their time, has infinite worth. Jeff Erlanger lived for 29 years. But in those 29 years, he changed the world. He taught millions of people what courage looks like. He taught them that being different doesn't mean being less. He taught them not to wait. And he reminded Fred Rogers when Fred was tired and ready to quit that the work mattered, that every person mattered, that moments of connection were everything. Jeff's mother, Sylvia, was interviewed for the documentary. She said, "People ask me all the time, what was it like having Fred Rogers in Jeff's life? And I tell them, Fred Rogers changed Jeff's life. That first episode in 1981, when Jeff was 10, gave him confidence he'd never had before. It made him believe he was worthy exactly as he was. But what people don't understand is that Jeff changed Fred's life too. When Jeff came back in 1999, Fred was ready to retire. He was exhausted. He thought he'd done everything he could do. But Jeff reminded him why the work mattered. Jeff gave Fred a reason to keep going for 2 more years. They saved each other. That's what people don't realize. It wasn't just Fred saving Jeff. It was both of them, 2 people at different stages of life. Both struggling, both tired, reminding each other that they mattered, that their time mattered, that their work mattered. That's what love is. That's what friendship is. Mutual saving. Today, Jeff Erlanger's legacy lives on in countless ways. There's a scholarship in his name at the University of Wisconsin. There's a foundation that provides wheelchairs to children who can't afford them. There are laws that were passed because of Jeff's advocacy work, and there are millions of people now, adults, who watched Jeff on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in 1981 or 1999 and learned that being different was okay, that they were okay just the way they were in 2019. Tom Hanks played Fred Rogers in the movie A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. During press interviews, Hanks was asked, "What's the most important lesson Fred Rogers taught?" Hanks thought for a moment. Then he said, "I think it's what Jeff Erlanger said in 1999. Don't wait. Don't wait to love people. Don't wait to do the things that matter. Because time is shorter than you think." Fred lived that way. Jeff lived that way. And they both died too soon. But they didn't waste the time they had. That's the lesson. Don't waste your time. Don't wait. Love now. Be kind now. Connect now. Because now is all we have.